Well, President Trump and several Republican lawmakers have been seizing on that New York Times report that the Ukraine phone call whistleblower was in touch with the House Intelligence Committee aide before filing that complaint. Well, that aide later shared parts of the conversation, we're told, with the panel's chairman, Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff. The president and the GOP claim that that tip-off undermines the House Democrats' impeachment inquiry. But have the whistleblowers followed the proper procedures? Their supporters say yes. Someone who knows about how it all works is Danny Coulson. He joins us from Dallas, former FBI Deputy Assistant Director. Danny, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Is there, and you've known this for many years and decades of government service, there is a fairly standard set of guidelines. If you're a whistleblower, what do you do first?
Well, the first thing you do is go to the proper authority. I'm not really been out of shape that much about the fact he talked to somebody on the committee of the staff, as long as they referred him to the proper authority and told him to get a lawyer. But the issue is, who generated this? Did this come from a staff member to the whistleblower, or the whistleblower to the staff member? And that's going to be key here. We need to find that out.
Well, the representatives of Congressman Schiff say that he had nothing to do with this report. He only knows about the vague parts of it, and that they had nothing at all to do to prepare it. That, in fact, the whistleblower first had a colleague go to the CIA General Counsel. When the whistleblower supposedly became nervous because it went up to the White House, that's when he or she went to the aide at the Intelligence Committee that told them under standard procedure, you got to go file a complaint with the IG and get a lawyer. That's exactly apparently what he did.
Well, I think that's fine. But, as it stands right now, this is hearsay upon hearsay. And that bothers me a little bit. We're talking about overturning the election of the President of the United States on hearsay evidence. And under the way they're looking at this thing, you and I could be whistleblowers.
Well, yeah,
it's
but
hearsay to me, too. So that really bothers me.
Danny, the critics would say it's not hearsay. It's in the president's own words. It's against the law to try and get a foreign power to interfere in an election by seeking the investigation of Joe Biden. I mean, that's against the law, and it's against the Federal Election Commission. The commissioner this past week made it very clear, you can't do that. You can't go out to a foreign power and ask them to investigate a political opponent.
Well, was he a political opponent at the time? That's the question. That is an issue. Had he declared? I'm not sure if he had declared or not, but I think he had not.
Yeah, it's July 25th. You know, he's out and running. Old Joe is out and running. It was the phone call was on July 25th, so of course he's a political opponent.
Well, I don't have a problem with asking another government to conduct a lawful act. Certainly there was an investigation of Mr. Biden and his son. I don't have a problem with that. But you know what, Eric? What we say doesn't matter. What matters is votes. We can debate back and forth as friends whether or not this was legal or illegal. What matters here is what's in the eyes of the beholder, which is the Congress. If they think it's a high crime or misdemeanor, high crime, then they can vote for impeachment. And we have difference of opinion a little bit here, but it doesn't matter what we think. It only matters what the votes are. You and I are used to working within the framework of the criminal justice system, where you collect evidence and you go to a court and there's monitoring and everybody treated fairly. That doesn't happen in an impeachment hearing, as you know. It's just, do you have the votes and do you have the courage to take the votes to impeach or not? And that's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, and others or the Republicans are complaining that there was not a full House vote, and the president has been complaining about this. And that basically, they say, handcuffs the Republicans from being able to have a subpoena power themselves. Here's Andy Biggs, Republican congressman, talking about this issue.
Says that Schiff didn't know anything about or didn't have any input on the writing of the complaint. Doesn't mean that Schiff didn't know about the complaint, didn't mean that Schiff didn't know what was going on, doesn't tell how many members of the staff actually were there, doesn't tell how many of these staffers actually participated in writing that. And when you read that whistleblower complaint, you have 17 references to media stories. That doesn't read like a normal whistleblower complaint.
Well, that's interesting because we've heard that before. I mean, what is a normal whistleblower complaint?
Well, normally it's firsthand information, or should be. It's information that allows a duly authorized agency, primarily the executive branch, to look at it, then report to Congress. But one thing I think we need to remember here is that there's a demand here for information. Well, Eric, we're still waiting for the Fast and Furious documents, and the AG was held in contempt of Congress. So this is a stalemate.
Well, why can't they do anything about that? Why, why can't we? I filed a Freedom of Information Act request like 12 years ago, and I still haven't. Seriously, I haven't even heard. So would I get a lawyer and sue the government? I guess I could. They'll just stonewall you.
Well, I think here that we probably need a vote so that everybody's treated fairly here. But, that may not ever occur. So what we may have here is theater, and that's what this is about, going back and forth, my view, your view. We go back and forth with it, and nothing ever happens. And that's kind of the way that Congress seems to work.
Well, in this case, it seems,
and that's really a shame.
Danny, it seems something likely will happen. They have more than enough votes to impeach their president, if indeed they do have on the Democratic side that they go to impeachment. So it seems that something will happen. The question is, what will happen, in the Senate, so that they are taking action. And the critics are saying this is that the president undermined our democracy, violated his oath of office by seeking foreign help, not just from Ukraine, but also by seeking foreign help publicly on television to China, which is basically not just a rival of us, but is trying to be aggressive and take advantage of us, in the president's own words, any way he can.
They clearly are. They are. I totally agree with your characterization of both accounts. However, let's do an investigation in the open with transparency, give everybody equal opportunity with regard to subpoenas and interviewing people and the ground rules. And I think I would be comfortable with that. However it plays out, I love investigations, but I like them to be done fairly where everybody is on equal ground here, and so far they're not.
And quickly, because of the way this has been structured by the Speaker, you feel this is not an equal ground because the Republicans don't have equal footing.
It's definitely not. I mean, let's do it fairly. I come from equity. I come from the criminal justice system where the defendant and the prosecutor, they're on equal footing. And that's not what we have here. And I think that's a shame. Let's find out what happened. I'd like to know what happened.
Danny Coulson, always good to see you.
You too, sir.
And thank you for your service to our country and the FBI. Down in Dallas today, where it's nice weather this weekend. Danny, good to see you.
It's beautiful. Thank you. Thanks, Eric.
All right, thanks.